not going to write home about my grip, but it's not terrible for 60. 4-inch goose, probably. It's a nice shot there, Devin, aiming at that tape. Except for you were supposed to be over here at that dot. I thought that was
Yeah. I was checking elevation.
All right, one-shot shootout at the deer. Let's put him at 60 and give it a go.
Okay.
And then we better get to work. Guys, we got to get to work. Not horseplay here. Man, this is going to be a rough one for him. Oh. You sure you want this on video?
No. I shot a 12.
You shot a, well, less than 12. Still keeping him at a 0 on film. No wins. You got to earn it, young man.
I was going for a trick shot through that thing, you know how it works.
Yeah, good fun, good practice. Now we better get some work done. So we're finally caught up to a point with the planning and spraying and stuff where we can finally start cranking out some of these vlogs. I've been shooting a lot of 3D on Sundays. I try not to take too much time away from my daughter on the weekends, but the last few Sundays I've been shooting ASA tournaments, so that's been very enjoyable. First few tournaments of the year, it was super windy, and I thought I was getting some wind drift, so I went to a micro to try and combat that. This is something you'd probably set up for like a TAC event or, you know, really windy days. So what I'm going to do is set up 2 bows. I'm going to have this set up for if it's really windy, and then I'm going to set this up, the Supernova by Sirius. This is going to be for just average wind, you know, low wind days. You know, the benefit of the larger diameter, of course, is trying to catch some lines, the line cutters, whereas, you know, you might lose a few points with that. Windy days, of course, you might pick them up, but that's the benefit of the larger diameter arrows. So we're going to set up 2 bows, run either or depending on the weather conditions. Another question I had on the main show, somebody had a question about, you know, the differences between shooting a thumb button and shooting a finger trigger release. And for me, the thumb button, I like the anchor a lot better. It just comes back, it seems to settle in just a little bit better than the index finger for me personally, but that's going to be personal preference. I think I shoot it maybe a little bit better. The other thing I really like about it, you don't have to worry about clipping it on if you get surprised by a deer. It's always ready right there. I just leave it hanging on my bow just like that. So all you have to do is just grab the release. You know, whereas this, I mean, it's still easy to hook. You just got the open hook, so I mean, you can hook it, but you don't have to worry about if it's low light, trying to see your loop or any of that. And that years ago, that's why I went to a brighter loop so you could see that, a white or a green or something like that, so you can see it in low light. But as far as how you want to shoot these, again, you guys got to figure that out, you know, for yourselves, what your preference is. I try to shoot a surprise release, which the way I'll do that on this release is when I get anchored in, I'll wrap my thumb around that and put a little pressure on it, and then I'll just start to pull with that pressure, just like that, and that'll fire. Now, if you just want to do a command style shot where you just hit the trigger, I mean, you can do that too, and you can be very accurate. The problem with that is if you shoot a lot, at some point you're probably going to deal with target panic. So that's the downside of that. If you don't shoot a lot and you never deal with that, I mean, you can just hit the trigger and be very accurate with it. If you watch me shoot and you watch Devin shoot, you'll see a big difference in how we come apart on the shot. So like I said, I just pull into that, that'll fire. You see my arm come back, you know, just kind of explosion of, you know, anticipation or not anticipating the shot, whereas if you're just hitting the trigger, you notice your back arm just doesn't move. It just be doop, like that. And you can do the same on the finger trigger too. If you want to shoot that as a surprise, I recommend you get into like your second knuckle. Doesn't work very well if you use just the end of your finger. That sensation, for some reason, it just messes with your mind. You can feel that, and you almost always develop target panic of some type. You anticipate that. So if you want to shoot a surprise, I recommend you get deep into the trigger and set in like that, then just pull into it and that'll fire. So just decide how you want to shoot it and practice, just go up to a bale. You can even go up. A lot of times, if I'm shooting a hinge or something, I'm just wanting to practice on my form, I'll go up 10 feet from the target and just sit there and shoot. Don't really care about where I hit necessarily, and just practice the release. So those are some of the differences, different release styles. Like I said, I practice a lot with a hinge also, but these are two of the good ones. Love the triggers on these things. They are smooth. You get them set up right and smooth as anything out there. So, well, let's go set up a rubbing post. We've got a lot to get done today, so let's go get at it. And thank you. Now I like to put these in at a little bit of an angle, because I'll find a limb that comes up and swoops down, overhangs. I seem to prefer that a little more than a lower limb, so. All right, we'll do another one. A lot of times I'll do 2 limbs, but on this particular setup for that blind on the 80, I'll just do 1 limb to how it sets up, but I'll do another hole that's kind of a straight hole in case our limb doesn't work out with the angle. So we'll do 1 more. There she goes. That's what I'm talking about. That ought to work. Yes, sir. I've been practicing for the world's strongest man. Watch this, guys. This is going to be really impressive. It's going to fall, tip me over, break my back. All right. We used to load trucks of chlorine. They're 50-pound buckets. We'd grab 2 in each hand, so it's 200 pounds, It's like nothing. Nowadays, I'll take 1, I'm good. You can't find a spot you like for a rubbing post much more than this. Any buck that works this side of the plot, they've got to skirt this little ditch right here, and a rubbing post is going to be about halfway in between, so I'd be surprised if you have a buck that skirts that, doesn't come up to this licking branch. Once they get used to using it, maybe not right away, but by the time fall gets here, it's one of the best setups I think I've seen in a while. And I love these for inventory as well. So we want to do 18, 20 yards. In a perfect world, I would probably take one of these cedars and limb it and use a cedar post, because they love to rub those. Maybe a little more than this, but these seem to work just fine. A little less work for as many of these as I put up. It's kind of nice just to go by the post and you're ready to roll. Man, these things still fit my hands. I was afraid of that. I'd like to know how many post holes I've dug in my life. Boy, that's got some clay in it, I can tell you that. I think it's your turn. You're gonna like this clay. Good stuff. While he's doing that, let's go see if we can find an oak limb. A lot of you guys probably know I'm a big fan of the red oak limb. Did an experiment last year, and the red oak limb won out against the vine and the cedar branch about 2 to 1. So sticking with the red oak. Now if I can get one that I really like them to kind of come out and swoop over. Those are my favorites.
See the limb, looks like it's gonna be hard to get to.
How far up?
All right.
Let's get Josh in on this. We love Josh, so we try to include him on everything.
Okay.
That ought to work. Okay. That's not the dirt. Ah. You're like Paul Bunyan out here. Give me that. Ah. That's pretty good. All right. Yeah, maybe one like that. There you go. There you go. That was better. Right here is about the height I'm looking for. Limb swoops down like I like it. For whatever reason, when they come up to a branch, they want to tip their head up. Like I said, a vine, the height's not that important. You can have it down low and they'll still come up to whatever height and tip their head up. But these limbs I've seen before, if you have them down here, they just won't hit them for whatever reason. If they can't tip their head up into it, they just don't like it. Not saying they'll never do it, but just not that often. So this is what we want. That'll be all scraped up this fall. Take that to the bank, and I love these for inventory in your bucks. Probably my favorite reason to put them out, really. I mean, yeah, the hunting opportunities, but the inventory, the trail pictures is awesome. All right, one away. Let's go see if we can get a redneck blind set up now. You ready? So we moved it behind this cedar right here because our access is right down the hill where we've been driving, and we can cut right down through here, kind of hidden, get in behind this cedar, kind of like we did on the food plot up there. We just keep that as a visual barrier to help us get in here, get in and out without getting spotted. So we're going to trim this out a little bit and then move the stand in closer. Hopefully provide some pretty good cover. So all the fun stuff you do in the spring and summer, hopefully it lines up in the fall. Come on, Betsy. Work with me, Betsy. Let's go. Come on. Okay. Got it.
Good job, Bessie.
Hard to believe this is actually enjoyable for me, but I love doing this kind of stuff, setting these farms up. We're setting right here, and this is going to be a clover plot. I've got to come in and mow it, spray it, but this will be lush green with our bedding over here. So hopefully if there's a big buck in this area, he's bedded close, this will be his first stop. That's another reason I want food here, is because they're going to pop out here. You can't see very far. They're going to pop out in this. We don't want them just walking through. We want to get some time to get a shot, get some video for you guys. So another reason to put food here. And then the access, again, like we talked about with the last one, second to none. You come down, cedars both sides of a rock driveway coming in. You slip in back behind this blind, all cedars. I wouldn't be surprised if you could get out of that with deer in this little plot right here. So sets up as good as any of them, and just enjoyable doing this kind of stuff. So we will be back at it again this week, and I appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.